Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at some AAA titles that I recommend you pick up from the Steam Winter Sale, which is going on currently until about the 5th of January. So I think by the time you watch this, you'll have like 4 days remaining. So if you're still looking for recommendations on games what to pick up, then listen on and let's get going. Obviously, there's a lot of AAA titles on Steam, there's thousands. I'm just going to go from my personal recommendations, so games I think that are worth picking up for the price, the quality of gameplay, and just the length of time it'll take you to play it. So without further ado, let's dive in. But I'll give you 10 recommendations from a various amount of genres and categories, and then maybe you guys can leave some in the comments, and then we can get a little conversation going as usual in our comments. I always appreciate you guys leaving comments, and I do like reading them. So yeah, I think we'll start with a fighting game. I may have spoke about this in the previous sale, but I'll just briefly go over it. Tekken 7. I bash on about this one all the time. But there is a new Tekken coming out. I'm not 100% sure if it's PlayStation exclusive for a little bit until a few months pass or something, or if it's just being advertised on PlayStation, but it is coming to Xbox and Windows as well. So Tekken 7, if you like a good competitive fighting game with really good mechanics, it isn't Mortal Kombat, it isn't gory as such. It's more fun than Street Fighter for me, and I've also grown up loving the characters in Tekken. So I guess if you've grown up loving a certain fighting game, you're going to enjoy it more than the other ones, I guess. I mean, the big three is like Tekken, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat. So, I mean, yeah, all I'm saying is Tekken 7 is on sale right now for £5. So if you love fighting games, you love having friends over to play fighting games with you, you love, I don't know, just enjoying a decent story mode in a fighting game, Tekken 7 will give you that. It has like a campaign based around different people, so you do campaigns, you learn about different people's storylines, and then like it'll eventually come together. So has some really cool characters, has DLC like with Negan and stuff, although I really think Negan was suited to Mortal Kombat a bit more. But yeah, that's Tekken 7. I really recommend it. It's one of my favourite fighting games, so if there's any chance for me to recommend it, I'll recommend it. So that's on sale for £5, 24p at the minute. So this game did win Game of the Year last year. It's a co-op game only, so you have to play it in co-op, so you have to play it with someone else. The cool thing is only one of you has to buy it. So one of you buys it, and then the other person gets to get like they download a free pass, and then you can both link up the game and play. It Takes Two. A lot of you might have already heard of this because of its popularity, but plainly just to recommend a co-op game to people who might not have heard of it, it's really fun. So you play as this couple who have a child, and you're arguing, it's not going well in the relationship, until you get shrunk down into toy forms, and you're getting spoken to by this love guru book, and he's putting you on a series of trials, which involve a shit ton of different amount of gameplay and mechanics. Really fun ways to communicate with each other and do loads of different tasks and work together, obviously building the bond between the couple up again. I really recommend it. It's really fun to play with another person. You don't really get a lot of the games like that these days. A lot of games like that really just single player or with online multiplayer, whereas this is solely co-op. I really recommend it. Hey guys, Harvey here from the future. I recorded a whole video on this, as you could see. I was chatting away, talking, enjoying myself, but the mic cut out, and turns out I hadn't recharged it enough and it ran out of battery. So yeah, I did get through 2 games on the list of 10. I did actually get through the whole list until I watched the footage back and saw that there was no audio. So yeah, kind of pissed, but we'll continue the list. I'll do the list again, just because I really want to get these recommendations out. But yeah, a little bit annoying, microphone problems, you know, is what it is. So recommended next on the list for me would be the Walking Dead Telltale Collection. So this one's a little bit on the older side, but I feel like it's might not have been played by a lot of more recent players. Like say if you've just got a Steam Deck for Christmas, or if you're getting a Steam Deck soon and you haven't ever played any Walking Dead games in the past, but you love The Walking Dead or you love zombies in general, this is an awesome story. I mean, some of the games are not as good as others, but the main trilogy, you've got Walking Dead, Telltale, like 1, 2, and 3 as well. And this is the complete pack. Yeah, so this is the complete pack. So it has all your Walking Dead content, but it's only £15. And I feel like these games run perfectly on the Steam Deck. Like just no issue for them to run well, just because of the style of the graphics. Like it's a Telltale game, so it's more visual novel, but it isn't, because there's choices and there are segments where you get to walk around and move. But if you like the Walking Dead universe or just zombies in general and are looking for like a story game where your choices actually do make a difference in the majority of the games, definitely recommend Walking Dead: The Telltale Collection, just because of like the first couple of games are just absolute classics, definitely worth the price alone. And then you've got more, and then if you really want to finish Clementine's story off, you kind of need to play the rest of them, and they're decent games, so 100% recommend it for £15. It's a great visual novel / like interactive story game with choices that actually do make a difference in most of the titles. So yeah, that's the Walking Dead Telltale Collection. So another game I want to talk about is Red Dead Redemption 2. I did go off on a massive rant about Red Dead Redemption 2 in my previous video that didn't record any audio, but in the best way possible, just because I absolutely love Red Dead Redemption 2. It's one of my favourite games ever. The world is just living and breathing. It runs perfectly on the Steam Deck. If you get it at a mix of medium settings, lock it at 40, you will not believe how good it looks. Like, a handheld game has never looked that good, ever. Like, you compare that to like a couple of years ago when we was playing with these Switch games on the Switch. You compare it to a couple of years ago when we were playing Switch games. Compare the difference in just graphical quality. I know that Red Dead Redemption 2 was never made to be a handheld game, but it just looks absolutely phenomenal. Game's amazing. It's a Wild West story, very like action-packed in certain elements, but like adventure focused too. Got a whole living and breathing open world. I've got an example of how good the open world is, but there's a section of the map which is like people working on a railroad track. And if you go visit them, you're like, okay, they're working on a railroad track. That's obviously they're programmed in to just look like they're working on it, just while you go through. And it's kind of like, you see it, but you'll never go back to it, so it doesn't really matter what they're doing. They're actually building the track. So if you go back there at another point in the game, you will see that their track is building and it's taking form. And if you literally watch them, you can see them hammering in nails into this railroad track. And then they move on to the next rail. The level of detail is unbelievable, and that's just a very small bit of level of detail. The characters are great. It's got an amazing Wild West style revenge story. Yeah, I 100% recommend it, and it works great on the Steam Deck. Sims 4 is free at the moment it's free forever on Steam. It's an amazing life sim game, although I will say it's very bare bones, because when you get the free version, you're literally getting the base game. And when that came out, I was thinking to myself, is this literally it? Is this the game? Because at that time, we didn't even have toddlers in the game either. So as far as a life sim game goes, it's funny because you go from Sims 3 and all the expansions, and that's absolutely huge. And that was obviously the open world. And then you go to Sims 4, it's very bare bones, and you're locked to your own area again. It seems like a downgrade, but the more you play it, the more you can appreciate why they did certain things, to get it running a little bit better, to get the loading times better. Key good things about Sims 4 is the way the Sims now speak to each other. So they're now talking. You can have multiple people in one conversation, which is always good. Previously, it was just one-to-one. Build houses. Now you can fully like drag and drop rooms and stuff. It's very intuitive. Same goes with like the actual creation of the creator sim. So it's like you're very molding the person out of like Play-Doh now, instead of just like using sliders to adjust. It's very user intuitive and fun, and you can make some wacky ass characters, and you can make very unique characters. But just bear in mind that if you do pick it up, because it is free to play, it is the base game, which is amazing because it's free to play, but you are going to be limited in the fact that it doesn't have any add-ons to it. So at the moment, there is a shit ton of Sims 4 add-ons, which add massive amounts of content to the game, but then you're going to be sucked into paying for them, and they're really expensive. So just be wary of that. They may be on sale right now, so that's why I'm giving the recommendation. But just be aware that it's pretty addicting and you'll probably end up buying a lot of expansions for it. The Witcher 3. So The Witcher 3 is another massive open world adventure game. See a theme here. I'm going to move on to some other titles in a minute. But The Witcher 3 is a very well-known game. I don't want to babble on about Witcher 3 too much, but it just had an update recently. It's like the next gen update. And apparently it runs really well, according to Gaming on Linux, on the Steam Deck, which is really awesome. So definitely recommend going back and checking this out with the new patch. I think you get it running at like 40 Hz again, which is like the golden number on Steam Deck. You seem to be able to get a lot of really high AAA titles to run at 40 Hz. So Witcher 3, big open world game. If you like killing monsters, killing enemies, but with a massively, amazingly fun bunch of side quests and a card game, which is one of my favorite card games. The card game within the game. I don't really love the card game outside of the game because they overcomplicated it because it needed to be. It's very simple in the game, but I feel like because it's simple, it works. It's very fast paced. I'm talking about Gwent. So I actually spent a lot of hours just going around each town looking for like the Gwent players. And if you manage to beat them, they give you a load of cards, and then you can construct an amazing Gwent deck, and then you can go finally into the main city and do like a big Gwent tournament. It's like super fun. You can verse all your like main characters in Gwent as well, and they give you like their cards as part of their Gwent set. It's just a little weird card game within a game that is just super fun. One of the main reasons why I love The Witcher 3. Yeah, super fun game, runs really well on the Steam Deck, and has Gwent. That's all you need to know. It has Gwent. That's the main thing. I'm going to move on to a game that I babble on about all the time, and the game that I'm currently playing at the minute. But Persona 5, if you haven't already had it enough drilled into you by me, is a must-buy. I bring this up again because it's on sale, and I don't know if you guys might not be subscribed to the channel, you might not have seen previous videos. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe. I mean, that would be amazing. But yeah, Persona 5, and this also includes Persona 4. It's like it is a JRPG, but it is also like a school simulation kind of thing. And when I say school simulation, I mean like it's set within a school year, both games. And you're like new to this area, you're new to this school, and you're meeting a load of new people and a load of new really interesting characters. And then shit goes down. You start to see like these bad people in the society. True JRPG fashion, you need to then delve into their souls and into their palaces and change their heart, steal their heart, which basically makes them change their ways, confess to their crimes. And the way you do it is by leveling up these personas, which are like monsters, like Pokemon. You can then capture them in these dungeons and train them to be yours, and by going through like a little dialogue with them. And if they like the character that you are, then they'll join you in your team. And then you've got the whole range of like fusions that you can make with them, so you can join two together to make a more powerful one. And that is really just like the scratching the surface of the dungeon side of things in this game. And then on the flip side, you've got the school aspect where you're making friends, building up the social links with these friends, which then links back to the dungeons and gives you more power-ups and abilities in the dungeons. But these characters are really fun and exciting, and some of them you can build relationships with to the point where you can actually go out with them, like be boyfriend and girlfriend kind of thing. Yeah, I just love it. It's really fun. It's a unique game. It is literally Persona. That's what Persona is known for. And all them points go back into Persona 4 as well, except it's just a little bit turned down a bit. There's not as much to do, but it's still very much similar to Persona 5. I actually prefer the story in Persona 4. Something about the Midnight Channel and just the element of that storyline captures me in more than this one in Persona 5. Although I do really love Persona 5. I mean, these are both probably 9/10 out of 10 games for me, but I just prefer the story in Persona 4. I don't know if that's nostalgia or if it's just the Midnight Channel gave me like massive Silent Hill vibes, and I'm a mad Silent Hill fan, so yeah. Also, I want to give a special shout out to Persona 5 Strikers. I want to see if you guys can tell me about it and if it's any good. I know it's like a sequel to Persona 5, but with this Dynasty Warriors-esque combat to it. I want to know, is it worth playing, and is the combat a lot better than just hack and slash? So if any of you guys have played it, let me know in the comments. I'm just really intrigued because I'm almost coming to the end of Persona 5. I'm sure about the combat. I'm all in it for the other aspects, but the combat is just like, I'm not a massive Dynasty Warriors guy. I'm not a massive hack and slash fan. So I don't know, try and convince me as to if that's a fun game to play. Yeah, I'm sure you will. Let me know in the comments, but yeah. So Spyro the Reignited Trilogy is a collection of the first 3 Spyro games, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cadicarus. He does some amazing videos on his channel, wacky, bonkers videos, but he recently replayed every Spyro game ever, and kind of got me in the mood to play some Spyro, so I delved into Spyro on the Steam Deck, and I've also obviously showed it off on my channel previously, but it runs really well on the Steam Deck, and it's just the first 3 Spyro games. There's so much content in there. If you love collectible games, if you love like platformers from the olden times of like the PS2, PS1, it's so fun. You play as Spyro the Dragon, and you have to like, in a majority of the games, you're having to free other dragons that have been frozen in stone. And yeah, it's pretty much just a really wacky game where you go to different worlds, different planets. Different planets have different biome styles, so like ice planets, grass planets, but yeah, more so like it for the collectible aspect of it and the fact you can unlock achievements now in the Steam Deck version because it's built into Steam. So if that sounds fun to you, I would give it a go. But yeah, Spyro is very nostalgic. It's just an old school platformer. I know I've done a lot of open world games in this one, but I just kind of want to go into this one because I feel like it is popular, but people brush it under the rug because it's so wacky and weird. This is Death Stranding. It has a director's cut version, so it's got some extra DLC and stuff if you buy it on Steam at the minute. But it's a Kojima game. You know, I rep Kojima massively. I'm a big fanboy, but it is honestly a really good game. It's, a lot of people say walking simulator or like a Royal Mail postman simulator, and that isn't the case. You are delivering parcels, but there's such a fat amount of lore and just darkness to this universe. It's like a post-apocalyptic postage simulator kind of, but it isn't. It's got so much more to it than that. But the majority of the gameplay is you walking from point A to point B within these like treacherous mountains and terrain, but you've got to like navigate these routes. You've got to plan ahead. Like some routes will have some very steep cliffs, and you've got to think, I need a rope in order to get down this hill, otherwise I will not be able to get down this hill. You've got to pack a rope ahead. It's very fun, but the storyline is where it gets interesting. It's very like wacky, has a lot of like time elements to it. The rain which ages you if it touches you. It's got creatures that can only be sensed by a baby in a jar which is just attached to you. It's very weird, very Kojima style. It's got famous actors in it, which is cool. I'm not really bothered if it has famous actors in it or not, but these actors do a really good job in it, especially Troy Baker. He plays a really good villain in this. It's just a really cool and unique game. I recommend it to anybody just to give it a go. If you don't like it, then you can refund it, but I'd say it gets really interesting at around 8 hours in. I think the game's like around 30 hours, but the story really picks up around 8 hours in once you get introduced to all the mechanics and the systems, and has Mads Mikkelsen. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely give it a go and have a look. One more I'll do, and it's Jedi Fallen Order. So if you're a fan of Star Wars, I absolutely love Jedi Fallen Order. It is one of my favourite Star Wars games ever made. Probably one of my favourite bits of Star Wars media ever created. So you play as Cal Kestis, and he's like a new protagonist brought in for this game. He's like a secret Jedi to start with, and this is at the time where the Jedis are like being hunted out by the Empire. And I don't know, you get to just explore a load of Star Wars planets. Has a bit of free running elements to it. You obviously get to control the Force, you get to upgrade Force abilities, you get to fight stormtroopers, you get to have massive lightsaber duels. It runs really well on the Steam Deck at 40 Hz. The only shit thing is, you need to check Proton DB for this, for how to, like a tutorial on how to change it. But EA recently updated their launcher, and it's now even worse than Origin. It's just literally called EA Launcher now or something. But that broke a lot of Steam Deck games as far as EA goes. With an easy fix, I haven't actually done it myself yet, but if you go onto Proton DB, I know that it's still playable. They showed it off in the trailer for the Steam Deck, but since then, like I say, EA updated the launcher, and now it's like a bag of shit and it broke a load of EA games, but it still works. But I 100% recommend it if you love Star Wars and you're sick of all these Star Wars series which suck, except Andor. I'm not sure if Andor's any good, I haven't seen that yet, but that's on my list. But yeah, Star Wars, Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order, 100% recommend it, and the twist at the end is insane. But yeah, if you guys like the video, please leave me a like or a comment, let me know what you want to see next. I hope you all have a great new year, and I'll speak to you guys on the next one.